Welcome back, Queens, to your channel, Master Stoic Philosophy, to find real, empowered woman inside you. Let's get something straight. You're done being ignored, overlooked, or taken for granted. You've played the role of the accommodating, understanding, and endlessly patient woman long enough. It's time to flip the script. Men have thrived on the chaos they create while you stand there, quietly picking up the pieces. But not anymore. You're about to learn how to say one thing, one carefully chosen phrase that will stop him dead in his tracks, leave him questioning everything, and ensure you never feel powerless again. This isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming control. Men have spent centuries building walls of arrogance and entitlement, thinking they hold all the cards. But the truth? They're as predictable as a clock ticking. They crave power, respect, and validation, yet they crumble the moment they sense they're not in control. That's where the timeless principles of Stoicism and dark psychology come into play. When you master them, you become the storm they can't weather, the calm, unshakable force that they can't help but respect. Picture this. You're in a conversation, and he's doing what he always does, dominating the space, interrupting or pretending to listen while planning his next move. Most women would fight for attention, talk louder, or try to prove themselves. But not you. You lean back, you pause, and with a steady, composed voice, you say something simple yet profound. Something that reflects his deepest insecurities or hidden desires. The kind of statement that makes him stop, blink, and realize he's not in control anymore. That's influence. That's power. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." But let's adapt that for you. Waste no more time arguing with men about who they should be. Show them what they'll lose when they don't measure up. The essence of Stoicism lies in control, not over others, but over yourself. Men are drawn to women who exude self-possession, who carry themselves with an air of mystery and restraint. The moment you stop reacting to their antics and start choosing your words like weapons, you tilt the scales in your favor. Think of words as daggers. Careless words bounce off like dull blades, but sharp, precise ones. They cut deep. Most women throw compliments or insults like candy at a parade, hoping something will stick. But when you use your words sparingly, with purpose, you don't just speak, you leave an impact. Instead of saying, "You're so good at this," say, "You always seem to find a way to get what you want, don't you?" It's not a compliment, not quite a challenge, but it forces him to think about how you see him and why. This isn't manipulation, it's mastery. Men are like mirrors, reflecting back what you show them. When you show insecurity or doubt, they latch onto it. But when you show restraint, control, and unshakable confidence, they can't help but lean in. They'll chase the version of themselves they think you see. That's the essence of dark psychology, tapping into their need for validation without giving it freely. You make them earn it. Let's talk about silence. Most people are terrified of it, men especially. Silence makes them squirm because it forces them to confront their own thoughts. When he throws a jab, instead of snapping back or defending yourself, try this. Pause. Hold his gaze. Let the weight of your silence sink in. You'll watch him stumble, backtrack, or fidget. That's the power of Stoicism. By not reacting, you control the entire exchange. In a world where men are used to women scrambling to explain or appease, your calm detachment is a thunderclap in the middle of their carefully constructed narrative. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop needing. You stop needing him to validate your worth. You stop needing his attention, his approval, or his promises. Men respect women who can walk away. The moment he realizes you're not afraid to lose him, he'll work twice as hard to keep you. Why? Because humans, by nature, value what they can't easily have. When you show that your life doesn't revolve around him, you become the rare prize he's willing to fight for. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Let that sink in. Men push buttons, not because they're smart, but because they're testing how much they can get away with. Every time you react, they learn where your limits are and how to manipulate them. But when you respond with calm, calculated words, you shift the game. You're no longer the chessboard, you're the player. And here's the kicker. Most men don't expect women to understand their desires, let alone reflect them. But when you listen carefully, you'll catch the hints, the dreams they barely admit to themselves, the fears they hide under bravado. Mirror those back to him, subtly. Say, "I can see how much this matters to you," or "You don't strike me as someone who settles." Statements like these make him feel seen, understood, and most importantly, vulnerable. Vulnerability is your leverage. This isn't about playing games or lowering yourself to their level. It's about rising above the noise, mastering the art of subtlety and strength. Men are used to predictable behavior. They thrive on it. But when you become the unexpected, when you're calm, when they expect anger, when you're silent, when they expect noise, you rewrite the rules of engagement. You become the force they can't resist. The next time he underestimates you, remember this. You're not here to prove yourself. You're here to stand tall, to speak with purpose, and to let your presence do the heavy lifting. With the right mindset and the power of Stoic influence, you don't just change the way men see you, you change the way they see themselves. And once you master that, they won't be able to forget you, ever. If you felt a spark today, a shift in how you see your own strength, please hit that like button and subscribe. We're here, pouring our hearts into every video to empower you, to help you unlock the incredible potential within you. Every like, every subscription pushes us to create content that truly makes a difference in your life. If this video touched you, if it sparked a change in how you view your potential, please like and subscribe. Help us help you on your path to mastering your true self. Number 1. Your silence speaks louder than their words. There's a moment in every woman's life when she realizes the power of saying nothing, not because she doesn't have the words, but because her silence can cut deeper than any argument, any insult, any desperate plea. Imagine this. He's waiting for your reaction, expecting the usual flood of emotions, the predictable responses he's grown accustomed to. But this time, you don't give him that satisfaction. Instead, you look him in the eye, and with the calmness of a storm on the horizon, you say nothing. That silence. It speaks louder than his words ever could. It tells him that you're no longer his to control, that your strength lies in your restraint, and that you've reclaimed your power. There's an old Stoic principle that says, control your response and you control the situation. Men thrive on chaos. They create it, feed off it, and use it to keep you spinning in circles. But what happens when you refuse to dance to their tune? When your silence becomes the unexpected pause in a song he thought he knew by heart? Suddenly, he's the one fumbling, second-guessing, questioning. Your silence becomes a mirror, forcing him to see his own shortcomings. And believe me, nothing unnerves a man more than realizing he's no longer the one in control. Think of silence as a weapon, but not one wielded with rage or malice. It's a weapon of grace, of dignity, of unshakable self-respect. Imagine you're standing on a battlefield, But instead of swinging a sword wildly, you simply stand tall, unyielding, and let the enemy exhaust himself. Your silence is your armor, your calm is your victory. It's not weakness, it's the ultimate display of power. Because when you stop explaining, stop defending, and stop seeking his approval, you become the one thing he cannot ignore. Take, for example, a candle in a dark room. Its flame doesn't shout, doesn't scream for attention, and yet it draws every eye, commands every shadow, and fills the space with its quiet glow. Your silence is that flame. It's steady, it's powerful, and it demands attention without ever asking for it. When you choose your silence, you force him to sit with his own thoughts, his own actions. He'll replay your last interaction, dissect every word you didn't say, and drive himself mad trying to fill the void you've left. That's the beauty of it. Your silence does the work for you. Relationships are not about losing yourself to prove your worth. They're about standing firm in who you are and inviting your partner to meet you at your level. When you stop reacting to his provocations, when you stop giving him your energy, you shift the dynamic. You go from being the pursuer to the pursued. He'll feel the distance you create, the weight of the words you don't say, and he'll realize he's at risk of losing something irreplaceable. And that's when the real attraction begins. Not because you chased him, but because you became the woman he can't stop chasing. Remember, silence is not about giving up. It's about standing up. It's about showing that your time, your peace, and your presence are too valuable to be wasted on meaningless arguments or manipulative games. It's about drawing a line in the sand and saying, "This is my boundary, and I won't cross it. Not for you, not for anyone." That kind of confidence is magnetic, it's irresistible, and it's the kind of strength that men can't help but respect, even if it terrifies them. You're not here to be underestimated. You're not here to be a footnote in someone else's story. You're here to be the woman who sets the standard, the woman who walks away from anything that doesn't honor her worth. Your silence will do what words never could. It will make him see you for who you truly are, a queen who doesn't need a throne to prove her power. This is your moment. Enough is enough. It's time to stop chasing, stop begging, and start owning the space you walk into. Your silence isn't emptiness, it's a declaration. It's the calm before the storm, the quiet strength that says, "I don't need to prove myself. You'll notice my value, or you'll lose it. Either way, I'll be fine." Write this affirmation in the comments. My silence is my power. Let this be your reminder that you are in control of your narrative, not him. Like this video if it resonated with you, and subscribe to the channel for more lessons on reclaiming your strength and creating the relationships you deserve. We're here to help you rise, to inspire you, and to remind you of the power you've always had within you. Your silence will echo, louder than any words ever could. Number 2, turn their gaze inward. They say eyes are the windows to the soul, but have you ever wondered what happens when someone sees themselves in your reflection? When you speak with a calm confidence that cuts through their ego and touches their hidden fears or desires, you're not just having a conversation, you're creating a mirror they didn't expect to face. It's like holding a lantern in a dark room, forcing them to confront the corners of their mind they've kept hidden. This isn't manipulation, it's mastery. And for too long, you've let them run from their truth. Not anymore. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig." Men don't dig on their own. They avoid the shovel. They distract themselves with bravado and empty words, hiding from the truth. But when you master the art of turning their gaze inward, you become the gentle yet unrelenting force that makes them face themselves. It's not loud, it's not aggressive, it's a quiet storm. And trust me, they'll feel it. Picture this: a man standing in front of a still lake. On the surface, everything seems calm, but the moment he looks down, he sees his own reflection, flawed, incomplete, searching. That's the power you hold when you choose your words with purpose. Say something like, "You've got all the answers, don't you?" Or is that just what you want people to think? It's not an attack, it's an invitation for him to see beyond his facade, to confront the parts of himself he pretends don't exist. And in that moment, you're not just someone in his life, you're the one who makes him question it. Men aren't used to this kind of energy. They expect validation, attention, even submission. But when you take a step back and choose to observe instead of react, you disrupt their entire game. They're no longer in control of the narrative because you're not playing by their rules. It's like a chessboard. They're so focused on moving the pieces they can't see you've already planned the next 3 moves. Think of your words as keys, not chains. A poorly chosen word locks them into defensiveness or arrogance, but the right one unlocks something deeper. For example, instead of saying, "You're always so confident," try, "You hide it well, but I can see the weight you're carrying." That kind of insight hits like a lightning bolt. It tells him you're not fooled by his exterior. It makes him wonder how much you really see. And in that wondering, he'll keep coming back. Not to you, but to himself, through you. You've been through enough. You've played the roles they expected of you: supporter, fixer, forgiver. But let me tell you something, you don't owe anyone that. You are not a crutch for someone else's growth. You're not a background character in their story. You are the story. And when you speak with clarity and intent, when your words hold weight, you shift from being an accessory to being an architect of connection. A man cannot resist the gravity of someone who makes him feel seen, not just in his strengths, but in the cracks he tries to hide. The truth is, men fear vulnerability more than anything. They build wall of pride and confidence to keep it buried. But you don't need to tear those walls down. You just need to walk up to them, place a hand on the stone, and say, "I see what you're protecting." I wonder why you think you have to. That's the power of turning his gaze inward. It's not about breaking him down. It's about inviting him to rise. And in that rise, you'll find a depth of connection that most people will never experience. You've cried enough, haven't you? You've given enough chances. Now it's your time to hold the mirror up, not just for him, but for yourself. Look in the mirror and remember, you are not broken. You are rising. You're not here to fix anyone. You're here to build yourself so strong that your presence alone demands respect. So here's your affirmation. My voice is my power, and my truth will never be silenced. Write it in the comments. Say it aloud. Let it sink in. Because when you turn their gaze inward, you're not just changing the way they see themselves. You're changing the way they see you. And that's the kind of transformation they'll never forget. If this resonated with you, if this is the strength you've been searching for, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're working tirelessly to bring you lessons that change lives. Lessons that remind you of the unstoppable force you are. Let's rise together, because this is your moment, and you've already waited long enough. Number 3, the flame that doesn't burn, bright, still burns. They think you need to be loud to be noticed. They assume you have to fight, cry, or beg to matter. But let me tell you this, true power doesn't scream, it whispers. True strength doesn't flash, it glows steadily, endlessly. The flame that doesn't burn bright still burns, and its quiet heat is the one they'll never forget. This isn't about fireworks that fade. It's about becoming a force that lasts. Imagine a candle in a storm. The wind howls, the rain pours, but the candle keeps burning. Its light doesn't demand attention. It doesn't need to. It simply exists, steady and sure, cutting through the darkness with quiet resilience. That's the kind of energy you need to bring to your relationships. Not desperate, not chaotic, just calm, unwavering strength that cannot be shaken. Men often confuse loudness with passion, drama with depth, but they're wrong. What truly captures a man's attention and keeps it is the steady flame of a woman who knows her worth. When you embrace that kind of quiet power, you stop being a flicker in someone's story and start being the fire that warms their soul. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good person should be. Be one." And in relationships, this translates to one truth. Stop proving your value. Just embody it. Think about this. They may have overlooked you, ignored your needs, or dismissed your emotions. But here's the truth they'll never admit. What scares them most isn't your tears or your anger. It's your silence. It's your ability to stand still while they flail, to hold your ground when they expect you to break. Because the flame that doesn't burn bright doesn't rely on the approval of others. It burns because it was meant to, and no one, not even him, can extinguish it. When you embrace this quiet strength, you take control of the narrative. You're no longer reacting to his chaos or feeding his ego with constant attention. Instead, you're drawing him in, forcing him to confront the mystery of your steadiness. Think about the allure of a moonlit night, soft, silent, but impossible to ignore. That's the energy you radiate when you stop trying to burn bright for someone who doesn't deserve your fire. Let me give you an example. Imagine a man who's used to women fighting for his affection. He thrives on the noise, the attention, the drama. But then he meets you. You don't play his games. You don't chase after him when he pulls away. Instead, you simply say, "Take all the time you need. I'll be fine either way." That's the moment the dynamic shifts. He's no longer in control. He realizes he can't shake you, and that's when he starts chasing the warmth of your steady flame. Remember this, you're not here to prove your worth to anyone. Your value isn't measured by how much you give or how loud you shout. It's measured by your ability to remain steady, no matter what. They underestimated you because you didn't fight for their attention. But they'll never forget you because you didn't need to. Pain has tried to dim your light. Their words, their actions, their neglect. It all tried to snuff out your fire. But here you are, still burning. Your scars aren't weaknesses. They're proof of your resilience. Every time they walked away, every time they doubted you, you grew stronger. They thought they could break you, but all they did was teach you how to survive without them. And now, you're thriving. It's time to stop doubting yourself. The love you're seeking isn't found in begging for attention or changing yourself to fit someone else's needs. The love you're seeking starts with the way you hold yourself. Unapologetic, confident, and steady. Men can't resist a woman who knows her worth because that kind of energy is rare. Most people are chaos, you're calm. Most are noise, you're the signal. Most fade quickly, you endure. So, here's your affirmation. My flame burns steady, and no one can extinguish it. Write it in the comments. Say it out loud. Let it sink in. Every time you feel doubt creeping in, remember that the candle in the storm doesn't burn for the storm. It burns because that's what it was meant to do. If this resonated with you, if it reminded you of your power, hit the like button and subscribe. We're working hard to create life-changing lessons that help you reclaim your strength and rewrite your story. Remember, The flame that doesn't burn bright still burns, and that's exactly why they'll never forget you. Now go and be the fire you were born to be. Number 4. Mirror. His fears reflect his dreams. Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and seen their fears hiding behind a facade of confidence? Or heard their dreams whispered in casual moments, masked as jokes or fleeting ideas? If you felt that pull to truly understand someone, to hold up a mirror that shows them their deepest truths, then you already know the power of seeing someone for who they are, not just who they pretend to be. This is your power as a woman. This is your edge. Men are masters at hiding behind walls they build to protect their fragile egos. But the moment you shatter that illusion, not with anger, but with understanding, they're left defenseless, exposed, and drawn to you in a way they can't resist. A man's greatest fear isn't failure, it's being truly seen. To him, vulnerability feels like a tightrope walk over a bottomless chasm, terrifying and unavoidable when you know how to guide him there. His dreams, on the other hand, are his sanctuary, a place he runs to when the world feels too heavy. When you reflect both his fears and his dreams with the right words and actions, you become the person he trusts, admires, and craves most. And trust me, that's a power no man can ignore. Imagine this. A man brags about his successes at work or the things he owns. Most people would feed into that ego, offering shallow praise. But you pause, look at him and say something unexpected. I wonder if you ever get tired of always needing to win. That moment will echo in his mind. You're not attacking him. You're showing him that you see past the facade. It's like standing at the edge of a frozen lake and knowing where the cracks lie. The weight of your words makes him pause, reflect, and more importantly, remember you. This is not manipulation, it's emotional intelligence. Reflecting someone's fears and dreams isn't about control, it's about connection. Men often bury their emotions so deep they forget they exist. But when you gently pull those emotions to the surface, you become the one person who understands him in a way no one else does. This is where Stoic wisdom comes into play. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. You're not here to control him, you're here to show him what he can't see in himself, and that is a strength he will never forget. Think of a lighthouse standing tall in a storm. The shipwrecked sailor isn't drawn to it because it moves or yells for attention. It's because it stands firm, guiding him to safety. That's who you become when you master this principle. You don't chase him. You let your calm, steady energy pull him toward you. Men are drawn to women who radiate a quiet confidence, who reflect their inner chaos without judgment. When you say, "I can see what you're capable of, even if you don't yet," it's like handing him a roadmap to his better self. He won't just be drawn to you, he'll depend on you emotionally, even if he can't put it into words. But let's be clear, this power only works when you stand firm in your own value. If you're looking for his validation, you lose your leverage. You don't need him to complete you. You need him to see that you are whole, with or without him. The love you seek starts with you. When you believe that, your energy shifts. You become someone he can't resist, not because you're trying, but because you're simply being. And what about his dreams? Reflecting his fears gets him to pay attention, but reflecting his dreams makes him stay. Say he talks about wanting to start a business or travel the world. Most people would nod and move on. But you dig deeper. You say, "I can see you thriving in that." You'd bring a unique perspective most people miss. Suddenly, You're not just listening, you're affirming his potential. And that affirmation, it's addictive. You're not feeding his ego, you're fueling his soul. That's a distinction he'll never forget. Remember this, relationships aren't about fixing someone else. They're about holding a mirror so they can see their own potential. Men fall for women who challenge them to grow, who don't settle for their excuses, and who see both their strengths and weaknesses without losing respect for them. That's the balance you strike when you reflect his fears and dreams. You don't just stand beside him, you elevate him. So, stand tall, Queen. You're not here to play small or settle for crumbs. You're here to show him what he could be and remind him that not everyone gets the privilege of standing in your light. You're not a victim. You're not someone waiting to be chosen. You are the standard. Write this affirmation in the comments. I am the mirror that reflects truth and potential. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We are working tirelessly to bring you lessons that empower and transform. This is your moment to rise. Don't wait. Take the reins of your power and watch the world respond. Number 5. Mystery is a queen's crown. Do you know what shakes a man to his core? Not the loud declarations or fiery arguments. No, it's the silence of a woman who doesn't reveal everything. The quiet power of someone who knows her worth so deeply she doesn't need to explain it. Imagine a locked door in a castle. The more inaccessible it seems, the more it fuels curiosity and desire. That's you, a queen who doesn't lay all her cards on the table, a woman who understands that mystery is her crown, not just an accessory, but the essence of her strength. Think about this. Men often say they want transparency, but what they really crave is the chase, not a childish game, but the pursuit of something they can't fully possess. The moment you reveal every thought, every emotion, every detail of your life, you hand over the keys to your kingdom. And once they hold those keys, the magic fades. You become ordinary in their eyes. But when you hold back, when you choose what to reveal and when, you become the woman they can't stop thinking about. The enigma that haunts their thoughts long after the conversation ends. Mystery isn't about being secretive. It's about valuing yourself enough not to give everything away. It's saying, not everyone gets to know the depths of me. Only those who earn my trust will see what lies beneath. It's about creating a sense of intrigue, like the shimmer of moonlight on water, beautiful, captivating, and just out of reach. Men are wired to pursue, to solve puzzles, and to uncover secrets. When you master the art of revealing only what you choose, you take control of their attention without ever demanding it. Imagine this. You're at a party. Most people are pouring out their stories, trying to outdo each other. But you speak less, listen more, and when someone asks about your life, you smile and say, "Oh, there's plenty to tell, but not tonight." That single sentence plants a seed. They'll think about it long after the party ends. What is she not saying? What's the story she's holding back? You've become unforgettable without lifting a finger. Mystery isn't just about silence, it's about depth. A woman who lives fully, who loves her passions, protects her boundaries and nurtures her dreams, becomes inherently intriguing. Men are drawn to the glow of a woman who doesn't need their validation to shine. When you embrace this truth, you stop chasing, stop proving, and start being. You become the locked door they long to open, the treasure chest they're desperate to uncover. And that's where the real power lies. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are filled with desperation for attention or fear of rejection, your soul dims. But when your thoughts are grounded in self-respect, in the quiet confidence of knowing your value, your soul becomes radiant. That radiance is the kind of mystery no man can resist. To the queens reading this, let me say this loud and clear. You don't need to explain yourself. Your worth isn't up for debate. You are not an open book for everyone to read. You are a masterpiece, and only those who deserve it should see the whole picture. Stop giving away your energy to people who haven't earned it. You are not chasing love. You are attracting it by being unapologetically you. This is your moment to reclaim everything. They underestimated you, didn't they? They thought they knew everything about you, but they haven't even scratched the surface. Let the world see the parts you choose to show and hold the rest like the queen you are. Your crown isn't for them to touch. It's for you to wear proudly. Now, write this affirmation in the comments. My mystery is my power. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and share it with the women who need to hear this message. We are working tirelessly to bring you lessons that don't just inspire, but transform. Queens, it's time to rise. Your throne is waiting. Number 6. The storm they can't outrun. Do you know what's more terrifying than a hurricane? A woman who finally realizes her worth. She's the storm no man can outrun, a force so powerful that no excuse, no half-hearted apology, no empty promise can hold her back. If you've ever felt like you were begging for scraps of attention, clinging to someone who didn't see your value, this is your moment. The moment you stop being the calm before the storm and become the tempest itself. Let me tell you something. A man will only respect the storm that shakes his foundation, not the breeze that goes unnoticed. Think of the ocean, vast, relentless, and untamable. When it's calm, people take it for granted, walking its shores without a second thought. But when it storms, the same people stand in awe of its power, realizing they've underestimated it all along. That's you. You are the storm he can't predict, the one he'll never forget. A storm doesn't ask permission to exist. It doesn't wait for validation. It roars into existence and makes the world pay attention. Men are used to women who plead, who explain, who stay even when they should walk away. But imagine this. Instead of pleading, you calmly say, I don't need you to complete me. I'm already whole. Those words, said with the quiet confidence of a storm gathering strength, will haunt him. He'll remember them when he's alone, replaying them in his mind like thunder echoing long after the lightning strike. Why? Because you've shattered the narrative he's built about you, that you need him more than he needs you. Think of a forest fire. At first it seems destructive, consuming everything in its path. But what's left behind? Fertile soil, new growth, life reborn from ashes. That's what happens when you embrace your power, when you let go of the man who didn't see your worth. Yes, it will burn. Yes, it will hurt. But from that pain comes a version of you that no man can ignore. A woman who doesn't just survive, but thrives. You are not weak because you cared. You are not foolish because you gave your heart. But caring doesn't mean staying where you aren't valued. Giving your heart doesn't mean letting someone trample it. The moment you choose yourself, the moment you say, I am done waiting for you to realize my worth, you become unstoppable. That's the kind of storm no man can outrun, the one that forces him to face his own inadequacies while you rise above them. The truth is, the love you've been waiting for has to start with you. Look in the mirror. That's your biggest ally. That's where your power begins. When you finally stop chasing, you'll see that the right man doesn't need to be chased. He'll be the one who recognizes the storm within you and stands in awe of its strength. So, here's my challenge to you. Don't just be the storm, be the lesson. Let every man who doubted you remember the woman who refused to settle, the woman who rose above the noise and found her voice. Say it out loud. I am the storm they can't outrun. Write it in the comments below. Let that be your affirmation. Let that be your promise to yourself. If this resonates with you, if you're ready to reclaim your power and never look back, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. We're here to bring you lessons that don't just inspire, they transform. This is your time. The storm is rising, and you are its eye. Number 7. Speak to his soul, not his ego. There's a secret door to a man's heart that most people miss. It isn't through flattery, endless praise, or playing the perfect role he expects. No, the true key lies deeper, where his soul hides, beneath the bravado, the ego, and the carefully crafted walls he uses to keep himself untouchable. You don't need to yell to be heard, or beg to be seen. Instead, speak to his soul, not his ego, and watch as the dynamic shifts in ways you never thought possible. Ego is a fragile thing. Men build it like a sandcastle, high and elaborate, yet one wave of truth can wash it all away. Flattery feeds the ego, but it never lasts. It's like offering sugar to a starving man, when what he needs is substance. When you stop feeding his ego and instead address the real man hidden behind it, you hit him where it matters. It's not manipulation, it's connection. It's the difference between telling him, "You're strong," and saying, "I see the strength it takes for you to keep going, even when no one notices." The latter doesn't stroke his pride. It resonates with his core. Think of a man's soul like a locked room he guards fiercely. Most people bang on the door, shouting and demanding entry. But you hold up a mirror, showing him a reflection he's afraid to face, yet can't look away from. You say, "You're not as sure of yourself as you pretend, are you?" Or, "I see the man you're trying to become." These words aren't just heard, they're felt. They don't boost his ego, they awaken his humanity. Imagine you're standing in a dense forest. His ego is the noisy, tangled underbrush, distracting and overwhelming. But if you step carefully, if you navigate with intention, you'll find the clearing where his soul resides. That's where the real conversations happen, the ones that leave him thinking about you long after you've walked away. Men aren't used to being seen in this way. They're used to surface-level exchanges, where their egos are stroked, but their souls are untouched. Be the exception. Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." When you approach relationships with this level of clarity, you stop chasing his approval. You realize that your words can shape how he sees himself. You don't need to shrink yourself or overextend to keep his attention. You don't need to feed his pride. Instead, you inspire him to look inward and reflect on who he is when he's with you. Every time you speak to his soul, you create a connection that's nearly impossible to break. He'll think of your words in quiet moments, when he's alone with his thoughts. He'll wonder how you saw him so clearly when even he struggles to understand himself. This is how you become unforgettable, not by playing games, but by showing depth and authenticity. You're not here to inflate egos or play by the old rules. You're here to rewrite the script, to demand a deeper kind of respect and connection. Enough is enough. Take your power back. They don't define you, you do. You're not here to stroke egos, you're here to set the standard. When you speak to his soul, you don't just attract him, you challenge him to rise to meet you. So here's your affirmation. I am not afraid to be seen for who I am, and I will see others for who they truly are. Write it in the comments below to claim it as your truth. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with every queen who's ready to rise. We're working hard to bring you lessons that change lives, because you deserve nothing less than to live yours unapologetically. This is your moment. Take it.